Ever feel like all your data is just out there? Floating around, being bought and sold without you having any say.
Yeah, it's like that feeling when you find out your favorite coffee shop raised their prices, and you're like, did they even ask me?
Exactly. But today's deep dive is going to flip that script. We're talking about the Streamr Network.
Think of it kind of like a digital farmer's market, right? But instead of tomatoes and crafts, it's real-time data up for grabs. Except in this case, you hold the prize produce, not some big corporation.
Okay, now that's an image I can get behind. So no more tech giants controlling all the data. Tell me more about how Streamr actually makes this happen.
It all comes down to this idea of decentralization. So picture this giant web of computers all over the world, kind of like
Yeah.
a global brain, right? Each computer or node stores and shares pieces of real-time data. Could be anything, really, weather sensor readings, stock prices, social media trends, you name it.
Okay, so instead of one central authority calling the shots, it's more like a distributed system. But how does this actually give me, the average person, more control?
That's where it gets interesting. With Streamer, you can become a part of this network. You can actually run a node on your own computer. You're contributing to the system, and here's the best part, getting rewarded for it.
Hold on, wait. You're saying I can actually earn something just by letting my computer be a part of this data network.
Exactly. Streamer uses its own kind of digital currency, these things called data tokens. It's how they incentivize people to run nodes. So basically, the more data your node processes, the more data tokens you earn. It's actually a really clever way to reward people for supporting the network's growth and security.
Wow, so it's like mining for digital gold, but instead of digging up virtual metal, I'm helping build a more democratic internet. I'm into it. But let's be real for a second. Not everyone's a tech whiz who can set up a node. Are there other ways to get in on this whole data revolution thing?
Absolutely. Streamer has this other really cool concept called data unions.
Okay, data unions, I'm listening.
So imagine you and a bunch of your friends all use the same fitness tracker, right? Now, instead of letting that data disappear into some corporate void, you could all band together and form a data union.
Strength in numbers. I like where this is going.
Right. It's all about leverage. Because now you have more power to decide who gets to use your data and what they'll pay for it.
Okay, so instead of our Fitbit data being sold off to the highest bidder, it could actually be used to, like, help researchers or something.
Exactly. Maybe a fitness apparel company wants to understand workout trends, or a research lab needs data on exercise habits.
And we actually see some benefit from it.
Precisely.
So instead of our data just being like another cog in the machine, it could actually be contributing to something bigger and we get a cut of the profits. Okay, I'm sold. But now I'm kind of curious, are companies actually catching on to this whole streamer thing? Are they really interested in playing ball?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, we're seeing this really interesting trend called data sponsorship starting to emerge, and streamers right at the heart of it. There are companies like from all kinds of industries. You've got your energy companies, your market research firms. They're actually sponsoring data unions and even individual node operators.
So it's mutually beneficial, right? Companies get their hands on this valuable real-time data, and everyday users like us actually get compensated for being a part of it. I like it. But I got to ask, with all this talk about data unions and setting up nodes, it still seems kind of technical. What about those of us who aren't exactly coding whizzes? How much of a learning curve are we really talking about here?
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
But honestly, setting up a streamer node is probably not as complicated as you think. You don't need some crazy powerful computer or anything, just something reliable with a decent internet connection.
Okay, so like what? I need a couple gigs of RAM, maybe a dedicated graphics card. Give me the specs.
Oh, you wouldn't need anything nearly that intense.
Mhm.
Think more like 4 GB of RAM, a couple of CPU cores, and maybe around 50 gigabytes of free disk space. That should do the trick.
Mm.
Honestly, the Streamer team has done a really good job at making the software super user-friendly. They've got these really detailed guides on their website. Plus, there's a whole community of helpful folks ready to guide newbies through the process.
Okay, so even if you're not like a tech expert, you can still figure it out and potentially start earning those data tokens. That's pretty cool. But let's maybe zoom out for a second, right? We've talked a lot about the how of Streamer, but I'm curious about the what. Can you give me some real world examples? How's this tech actually being used out in the wild?
Oh, man. The possibilities are honestly pretty mind-blowing when you really start to think about it. Like one area where Streamer really shines is the whole Internet of Things thing, or IoT for short. We're talking billions of devices, everything from smart refrigerators and factory sensors to even like those fancy toothbrushes that track your brushing.
So basically, a whole lot of data flying around from all these connected devices.
Exactly. And Streamr creates this really secure and efficient system for all these devices to share information in real time. Like imagine a city where the traffic lights automatically adjust based on real-time data from cars, to help reduce traffic jams and make things run smoother. That's the kind of thing Streamr can do.
Wow, so from traffic jams to toothbrushes, huh? That's quite the range. What else you got? What other fields is Streamer making waves in?
Well, another really exciting application is in the world of finance. I mean, you know how much the financial markets rely on real-time data, right? And Streamer can provide traders and analysts with like a direct line to these crucial data streams, which could lead to more efficient markets overall, better transparency, and
And maybe even a more level playing field for us regular investors, right? The ones who don't have those fancy Bloomberg terminals with all the expensive data feeds.
exactly. It could really change the game when it comes to market access and information.
It's really amazing to think about all the possibilities here. But it also makes me wonder, can a system like this actually handle it all? I mean, we're talking about huge amounts of data from potentially millions of users and devices. Can it really scale up without, like, crashing and burning?
That's the million-dollar question, right? How do you make sure a decentralized network can handle that kind of exponential growth without sacrificing speed or security? It's definitely a hurdle that Streamer and really any ambitious project in this space has to overcome.
So how are they planning to tackle this? What's the grand plan for making sure Streamer can keep up with this, like, data deluge?
Well, one thing they're exploring is this idea of layer 2 solutions. It's kind of like imagine a super busy highway, right? Tons of traffic. A layer 2 solution is like adding an express lane that bypasses some of that congestion.
Ah, I see. So not every single transaction has to go through the main Streamer network. Some of them can zip through these express lanes.
Exactly. It's all about streamlining things. This helps to speed up transactions and reduce costs, which makes the whole network more scalable. And the cool thing about blockchain technology is that it's constantly evolving, right? So there are always new solutions being developed that can make things even better and more efficient.
That's reassuring. It sounds like they're really thinking ahead. So, big picture time from everything we've talked about today. How do you feel about the future of Streamer? Do you think it has what it takes to really shake things up and change how we think about data ownership?
Honestly, I think Streamer represents a really significant step towards a future where data works for us, not the other way around. Whether or not it becomes the dominant platform, the ideas behind it, this emphasis on data ownership, transparency, user empowerment, yeah, I think those are here to stay. They're going to have a lasting impact on how the internet evolves.
It's a powerful vision, that's for sure, and one I'm definitely rooting for. Well, thanks so much for joining me today and for really breaking down this whole world of Streamer. It's been fascinating.
My pleasure. Always happy to chat about the future of a more decentralized world.
And for our listeners, if you're as intrigued by all this as I am, you can find more information about Streamer in the show notes. We'll link to everything we talked about so you can explore further. Until next time, stay curious, and we'll catch you on our next deep dive.